this LeBron performance. This is one of LeBron's best performances, I think, probably ever in a finals.
Well, I don't know about ever because those young LeBron performances were kind of crazy. If anything, I think this was his worst finals performance in a win.
You think really?
Yeah, in a win. Obviously, like he's had his 2007 wasn't that good, but that was in a loss. I'm saying like in the 2012, 2013 ones, he was insane. Obviously, the 2016 one is his best one. So like, it's either this one or the what's it called, the one against the Oklahoma City Thunder that are kind of his worst performances. It's just crazy to say because LeBron's performance was so good that we're
I,
like, for any other NBA player, this would be their best performance ever in a series. But for LeBron James, like I'm gonna say his age is showing. Like he
I
was not able to defensively lock up players that we expected him to for the whole game. Obviously, he did it for the fourth quarter and stuff, but man, I might say this might be only 2 more years left of LeBron, which is surprising, but not really.
I'm kind of surprised that's your takeaway because I mean I agree about the defense, sure, but I mean in the playoffs, 28, 11, and 9, uh, pretty good.
Yeah,
And then in the finals, he actually went up a level to where he averaged 30, 12, and 8.5 assists in the finals.
yeah,
And the number that kind of surprises me the most is 42% on threes on 6 attempts a game in the finals,
hmm.
which is, I mean, he was making a lot of clutch threes, like
I know.
especially what was that, four? Game four.
Yeah, the
LeBron
one
hit a
they
couple of
lost.
like
Yeah,
30 footers that just iced the game.
hmm,
And I do agree that his age is showing because we see
yeah,
him playing a little bit differently than before. Like he's taking more jumpers than before.
yeah,
He's not just blowing by guys and going straight to the basket for dunks, but he's just kind of like slowly driving his way in. He's still stronger than any one player that anyone could throw at him.
hmm,
Getting foul calls, didn't get he got a couple of questionable calls because he's LeBron, obviously, but
yeah.
I mean that's just how it works. I was super impressed by this finals. I think he completely deserved that finals MVP. I know we after game two we recorded and we said it should have been Davis,
Hmm.
but I think pretty much ever since then LeBron is the clear finals MVP. I think they definitely got that one right, not just based on the reputation.
Yeah, LeBron's stats are crazy, but in the like when we were watching the game, every time LeBron's been in the finals, it's been this is the best player by far out of like in the world, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And finally Anthony Davis and Jimmy Butler were like, yo, they're playing so good. Like they became comparable to LeBron. I wasn't saying they're better than LeBron, obviously, but the fact that someone was comparable to him wasn't even like comprehensible. Like during his prime, that wasn't like if Kevin Durant was the closest player that came to him
Mm-hmm.
in the 2012 finals, but like he still got lost. He still lost. So like the fact that someone was comparable to LeBron is what makes I don't know, like it just didn't have the same impact of like LeBron steamrolling. This actually felt like a team, like a Lakers team beating the Miami Heat team, whereas the other times it kind of just felt like LeBron and crew beating their NBA.
So yeah, I do agree with you. This definitely did feel like a team effort, especially like
Mhm.
KCP. I mean, KCP was probably the third best player in the finals
Yeah,
for this championship team. Rondo probably would have been next after
fourth.
that.
Yeah,
But um, you say Jimmy was close, and the thing is,
he
Jimmy had a
was.
few games in this finals that were LeBron-esque, very close to LeBron, and
Hmm.
the media, especially the social media, kind of just exploded with all this love for Jimmy Butler. But then in Game 6, in a must-win game, I'm not gonna say he choked, but he kind of came back to crashing down to earth with 12 points, 7 rebounds, 8 assists.
Yeah,
Um, and LeBron just casually puts up a 30-point triple double every night. I don't want to be one of those guys that say we take LeBron for granted,
yeah,
but I mean, when LeBron scores a 30-point triple double every night and it's not really a big deal, I
hmm,
think there's a clear gap between him and a guy like Jimmy Butler. I think.
yeah. The thing is, it's just it's like perception of the greatest of all time, right? Like when Jordan was on his peak, like no one was comparable. That's why when LeBron was on his peak, I feel like people underrate LeBron's peak.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's disrespectful for 2012 LeBron to say this LeBron James is comparable to him because like that LeBron is such a big difference maker. And I feel like people just have to acknowledge LeBron's adapted to play with less energy. He's
Yeah,
adapted
he
to
has.
play with
He has.
he's the smartest basketball player in the NBA right now, and he's able to adapt to conserve energy and play at a older age. And the way he plays just doesn't seem as dominant. You know what I mean? Like when you're scoring a bunch of points,
Mm-hmm.
which he did in that 40-point game, he seemed so dominant. But when you're passing and playmaking, you don't seem as dominant for a viewer. But obviously, we still know his dominance when we look at the stat sheet at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, I I understand. Yeah, I get that because LeBron, even in this finals, even how dominant he was in the finals, even the whole playoffs, he never really had a bunch of those runs, those like Jamal Murray runs where he scores like 12 points in a row or whatever. Even like Anthony Davis had a bunch of those too. He just kind of scores 6, 8 points a quarter, just like
Yeah,
all spread out.
yeah,
Um, Always controlling the pace of the game. Always not one team, not one player on any team that they went up against had an answer for him. When he
yeah,
decides to just take it in, and he's like, "I'm gonna get a foul call. I'm gonna get an and one." He just gets it. He's just stronger than everyone else. He's not as
yeah,
explosive or energetic as he used to be, like you said. But when he wants to get it done, he just gets it done.
yeah. And the another thing that people, I guess, that shading LeBron's, because all that's gonna come about this is LeBron praise. We
Yeah,
obviously think he's still the best player in the world. We're just saying now that he's closer to
the
two
gap
and
is
three,
smaller. Yeah.
yeah, than ever before. And we're just trying to say this as in how many years does this LeBron have as the best player in the world? Because we want to still witness him and appreciate when he is the best player in the world. Because players like Jordan, it kind of just happened out of the thin air because he
Mm-hmm.
retired and he just didn't return the same.
Yeah.
Kobe got injured, didn't return the same. Shaq got injured and traded with the Heat, never was the same.
Yeah.
Tim Duncan was just great, 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 great. And then LaMarcus Aldridge came and Tim Duncan kind of fell off a cliff too. So like all these great players, it just happens so subtly that we don't realize it. But I feel like
Mm-hmm.
for LeBron, like it's inevitable that's gonna happen. And I think 2 more years and then this might be it.
Well, so I think I look at it a bit differently than you because I was one of the guys coming into this season, even coming into the playoffs,
Hmm.
where I was like LeBron. The gap is not just smaller; the gap has been overtaken by Kawhi
Yeah.
Leonard and Giannis.
Yeah.
Um,
What a
and
bad take.
I quickly realized that that's wrong. LeBron was
Yeah.
just injured last year
Yeah.
and didn't have a good enough team. Uh, and you cannot, not one person can make the argument for Kawhi or Giannis over LeBron right now. Not
Anyone
even
over
just
yeah.
because,
Yeah.
not even just based on accomplishments. Not like you could say LeBron had a better player beside him than any one of those guys could
Hmm.
ever have. But even just in a pure basketball sense, he's just better than those two guys. And
Yeah.
I don't care what anyone says. I was on the Kawhi train, I was on the Giannis train, but LeBron is still clearly the best in the world. He's going into year 18. He's still the number one player in the world. You say he may only have 2 years left, and I think in year 18, going into his age
Yeah.
36 season,
36. Yeah.
I think that's kind of just icing on the cake at this point. Like I don't know.
Really?
I there were some signs of slowing down, but I don't see anything major. His game has definitely changed, but he's still, like I said, probably the strongest player in the league.
Hmm.
Um, and no, I don't. I literally can't think of one player who can guard him when he wants to score. Now
Yeah.
the question is he going to be able to sustain that intensity for these like long seasons and long playoffs? How many more times is he going to be able to do that? I don't know, but I think at this point he still has to be the best player in the world. Thanks for watching. Listen to the Stretch the Floor podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, and follow us on Instagram.